Jean, could you please tell us about the town where you were born and your memories of growing up before the war in Poland?
I was born in Chapnick. It's Polish, a Polish town. It's 20, it's it's about 20 miles from Krakow, and it's 20 miles from Auschwitz. Auschwitz in Polish was Oświęcim. I was born into a very Orthodox family, Hasidic family. I didn't know till after the war that it was a Hasidic. I knew that we were religious, but I didn't know that we belonged to a Hasidic group. Then my youth was beautiful. When I was 3 years old, we moved to Shanadolna. Shanadolna is in the Carpats, where my grandfather had a very, very, very big property. And on the property, he had 10 children, my grandparents, and the youngest two, one the son and one the daughter, they were lived on the property. They had little houses on the property, and my mother and I had one brother, he was older than 3 years from me, and we lived in grandfather's house. His children, they were in Germany, in Krakow, and Gierwolf, in different towns. He had 10 children, as I said. Life was beautiful. The Jewish life was gorgeous. We had everything. We really enjoyed life. We children, after the war, my youngest uncle, he was sent to Siberia, so he survived with his wife and with his 2 boys. So my uncle said to me, child, he called me child in Jewish, he called me child. You didn't know life, and life was not so rich, and life was not so rich for the Jews in Poland. But we children, we didn't feel. We had what to eat, we had clothes, we lived very, very nice. And life was very, very good to me.
Do you remember ever experiencing anti-Semitism before the war?
What kind of experience?
Did you experience any anti-Semitism or prejudice by non-Jewish Poles?
I tell you one story. In Poland was a Catholic country. So we used to go to school, to elementary school, because there was no problem for the Jews, because Catholicism was connected with the school. So the girls had one building, and about half a mile away was for the boys' building. So we used in the elementary school, we were separate, the girls from the boys. And in my class, we were 30 girls, and the 30 girls, there were 3 Jews. So it was 27 girls and 3 Jews. And Saturday, the school was uh, 6 days a week. So Saturday usually they gave homework, and we didn't go Saturday to school because we were the three girls, and we were having hard time getting homework for Monday because they used to say, you have Saturday and we have Sunday. They didn't realize that we cannot write and read, write on Saturday. So but we lived, we didn't, we were children and everything with children. Don't forget, I wasn't old. I was I was very, very young. So we didn't, they, our parents shielded us from the anti-Semitism, from the outside world. So
So,
we, I give you an example.
mhm.
April, usually April in Europe was a lot of egg. The chicken had a lot of eggs. So we used to make egg noodles and we put this in the attic. So we hired women who was doing the egg noodles. So I always thought that they're doing it from friendship. So after the war, as I told you, my uncle survived. So my aunt used to say, child, you don't know. They were paid. They were very poor with you. We didn't know. We didn't know. We didn't know the shield from the children that somebody was sick, that somebody died, that they didn't have money. We didn't know this. We were very sheltered. We children. You found you understand it?
Yes. So, when did life begin to change? Was it when the Germans invaded Poland in September 1939?
No. We and when Poland was liberated in 1819, it was Piłsudski. It was our he was the not president. He was the like
Prime Minister?
he was the like
Prime Minister?
no like Netanyahu in Israel. How you call it? Not Netanyahu is
He's the prime minister.
not a prime minister. How you call in England the
The Prime Minister.
prime minister?
Yeah.
He and the Jew helped doing the revolution. I'm not going to tell you the whole history. So he Piłsudski, he was very good to the Jews. He died in 1935, and another one came, Rich Migre. And Rich Migre started to be that time the anti-Semitism came out. So we knew like they had, on the stores that you shouldn't go to Jews to buy Jews. You buy by the Poles. So we knew that they didn't like us, but we didn't. But we really were protected, as I said before.
So in 1939, when the Nazis invaded Poland, I believe your family escaped from Charnow to Torchin and the Soviet side of Poland. Can you
Right.
describe what happened?
Yes, we Ukraine was divided between Poland. Ukraine was divided between Poland and Russia. So when the war broke out, my mother and my brother and I, we were running east. East Poland was called oh God,
Into the Soviet occupied portion.
Soviet occupied. We came to Lutsk on other jet. Lutsk. We came to Lutsk was occupied by the Russian, and we were with the Russian till 1941. June 22nd, 1941, on a gorgeous Sunday morning, the war broke out between the Russian and the Russian and the Germans. And 3 days later, the fun started. The Germans came in, and the life started to be hell. Life started to be hell. In that part in Poland, we used to call it Berlin.
In what ways did life become hell for you and your family in Volyn?
For all the Jews on the Berlin, when the Germans came in 1941, for all the Jews, it was right away we had to wear white bands with the blue Star of David on it, and right away the organizer Judengarten, the organizer right away Ukraine, German police, and the German came right away, and hell became hell. Hell became. We didn't want we could go with the Russian. Russian wanted that we should go with them, that the Germans, but we didn't think that will be worse with the Germans for children, for old people, for women. We didn't think that will be worse by the Germans than by the Russian, because the Russian were very extremely poor and extremely liars, and we Orthodox people could not work by the Russian, because by the Russian you work 5 days, and the 6 days is rest day. So Saturday, every 7 weeks, Saturday came on Saturday. Every week was a different day. So it wasn't that stupid, but we didn't think that we didn't think that in Russia, that in the Germans will worse. You understand? We knew the Germans, they were very cultured. We didn't realize that our life will end.
So once the Germans came in, was your family forced into a ghetto?
No, I didn't have family. My mother died, and my brother, I had a three-year-old brother. He got married, and he moved from Lutz. He moved from Lutz, and he just before the war broke out. And I never got where he went. And, and
So you were alone as a teenager.
right, I was a orphan all around, and one family was extremely good to me, and they said they're in Thornton. They were rich people, so they had to move from Woods. So they moved to Thornton. So they said I should come to Thornton when the Germans came. That and they adopted me. Not 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 legally, but you know what I mean. And they were extremely good to me. I was in Thornton with them. So
How did you meet this family and end up receiving the offer of them to provide for your protection?
because this is another story. I'm not talking about that story, but
Okay, so
my mother died in 1940
Mhm.
from she died from meningitis. The Russian, when they occupied this part of Poland, they brought from the Russian meningitis. You know what meningitis. So
Mhm.
she died from meningitis, and my brother and I, we were youngsters. So they had pity on us, that family, and they arranged they, they arranged the funeral for my mother, and they became our foster parents. Not legally, just and when they were and they were thrown out from their house because they were rich. So they went to Thornton. So when the Germans came in and my mother was dead and my brother, I didn't know where he is. So they said, come to Thornton and be with us, don't be alone. So I came to them, and when the Germans came, Saturday they came, was one German Sonderführer. He was the man of the town, and right away he arranged a Russian, a Ukraine German police, and he took he he took was one. The town was very small. There were just single houses on the house, but one house was built And one house was built that had a stone on the bottom, an apartment at the bottom, an apartment in the bedrooms upstairs. A new house. That house that the German occupied. His name was Waldheimer, and his title was Sonderführer. And so the Ukraine police Saturday came, and I said that the Jews have to make their own make their own government, that they have to have a Judenrat, they have to have police, Judenrat police, they have to have secretary. Nobody wanted the job. So one man that was a very not nice man, he wanted the job, so nobody was against him. His name was Karsh. His name was Karsh. His last name, I don't know his first name. And the Judenrat has to fulfill all the laws that the Germans will give for the Jews. So this was on Saturday, and as I said before, we had to wear white arms with blue Star of David on it. And the other way, we women had to go to wash sidewalks with toothbrushes and the roads with the rags and washed it. And the men had to go cut wood and cut stones to make to put them on to make the roads, and they went to the farms to work on the farms, and it was hard. And the Christian were not allowed. The Christians were not allowed to sell nothing to the Jews, so it was rather way hung. After this was in June. In August, Tisha B'Av, in August, they called all the Jews to the market, a marketplace that was in front of a Ukraine church. All the Jews on Saturday, and the SS men of the Gestapo came from the state, because in our town in Thornton was only one German. So that in the Gestapo and the SS men, they were in Lutsk. Lutsk was the state of the of, of the of our town. So two Germans came in and on a Saturday, and they said that we should always come. They have to tell us what they have to tell us what to do, and have to give us some instruction that we shouldn't be afraid to come on Saturday. And when they were told, and the Germans walked over to the young rabbi, shook his hands, and we were going back to the houses. A week later, it was Tisha B'Av, the first day of August. The first day of August, 1941. And they came, and the police, the Jewish police came Friday night that we should come tomorrow with shovels to that same place. So we were afraid that something is wrong, that we have to come with shovels. So they said that we will go to Kiev to build trenches for the soldiers. So of course we went. It was the first of August, 1941. We came. They had they separated the women from the men this time, and they said that they're going to take 200 Jews and 5 girls to work in Kiev. So the 5 girls will cook for them, and the 5 girls will wash the clothes. But so we believed them. They were such liars. So the next day, Sunday, a man managed to escape, and he went to Lublin, and he sent to his wife a note that he's alive, but they took them to the Boyane forest, and they were murdered there with 5, the 200 Jews with the 5 girls, and they put in also 5 Ukraine that they were working with the Russian.
So all 200 men and 5 women that had volunteered to go to Kiev had been taken into the forest and shot.
They didn't volunteer. The Ukraine make they make a list of young people. They make a list with Ukraine. Nobody volunteers to go no place. Nobody. You understand?
Yeah.
Everything what was going on was not volunteers. It was forced on us.
So where were you during this first action? You were not selected to be part of the group.
I was between the people, and I was with all the people.
He's asking you where they didn't pick you.
They didn't pick me. They picked 5 girls. Every name was prepared by the Ukraine. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
They knew the Jews in Turkey because they were living there. They knew, and they took young maybe I was too young. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't pick me. Just the the five girls. There were two my husband's sisters and three other girls. I don't know why they picked them. If if maybe they had something the Ukraine didn't like, they picked 200 men and five girls, and they were killed Tisha B'Av. You know what Tisha B'Av is? When they
Yeah,
what?
I do. And for anybody watching, Tisha B'Av is the Jewish day of mourning for the destruction of the temple.
Right, right.
Now, Gene, as a religious Jew, it must have been particularly meaningful and scary for this to happen on Tisha B'Av. Do you remember how you felt when you
Oh,
heard the news?
to tell you the truth, I was too young to be scared.
Hmm.
You know, young people, they don't think that nothing happened to them. I don't know if you remember when you were a very, very young teenager. Nothing faces you. So, the, and right away, they changed the change that we had to take off the band and put in yellow, round patches in front and in the back. In front of the house, of the clothes, and then back of the clothes. They changed
Hmm.
the mark that everybody should see that you are Jew. And life was horrible. It was impossible to, even now, after 80 years, I pinch myself and I say, how did I survive? How God, God was watching over me. I really believe till this day that God watches over me,
Mm.
because you cannot imagine what we went through in February 1942. We were told that they will we were told that they will organize ghettos. So we took whatever we had and took it why and took it to a Christian that we believe that he is an honest man. We took furniture, men's clothes. We took to the Christian with this, that after the war, we will get it back. And in February, the day came when they made the ghetto. Our family, I called the people that I was with the family. Our family was living on the main road where where the rich people were living, and the ghetto was organized in the back of where the poorest people were living. So we just could take with us a bundle what we could carry. And just before when the ghetto was going to be organized, it was police staying and looking. If you have a bigger bundle, they took away your bundle. The we were we were we were rushed to go to the ghetto, and we we had to be right away in the houses. So we couldn't manage to get, not everybody could manage to get in the house because there were so many people from the main street. So that day, a few people were, a few people was killed because they didn't have, they couldn't, they couldn't get in the house. Uh, this this was in February. The next day, we had to go to clean the houses. So we we took, we had to clean the houses from the dresses to take the clothes, whatever was in the house, and take it to a movie house. It was a movie house over there, and we between them I was there too. We had to go to the movie house and sort out the better clothes. It was going to Germany, and the not so good clothes. They were selling for 5 groschen, five rubles, 5 pennies to the Ukraine, and and the potatoes was potatoes from the houses, and flowers. They gave it to the Judenrat, and the Judenrat made make the Judenrat was placed a slambon. A slambon was like a gate made out from an electric pole. Electric pole. The pole was worked by hand. It's just like a ramp like you have in United States where the trains passing by a street and you have the ramp come down, but here comes down electric with light. This was with arms. You the electric the yeah, we used to call it the slambon. The slambon in the in one side the slambon Judenrat took a house for office and across they make the kitchen and the ghetto. And the kitchen is for the workers who went to work during the day. The shambon opens up, and we were going to slavery, and it closed down when we were at slavery. And in the kitchen, you had to get to the Judenrat found a little note that you're going to work. So you got soup. The soup contained from water and from a potato. You were lucky to get a potato in the soup. You were lucky. And when we went to work, little boys, mostly boys, I don't know why the girls never did. The little boys came to the kitchen to have a little soup. Maybe if it's a little less. The children the children looked like skeletons, or they were so swollen, and the eyes out, they looked like cartoons. I still, after so many years, I see them in the front. They were, hunger was, I said that, I don't know if I said it, when they made the ghetto, they gave 4 ounces of bread and I don't know why they gave us 1 ounce of salt. I really don't. We didn't have water in the ghetto. We had water outside the ghetto. So we had to go from 4 till 5, we could get the water. And if somebody was there after 5, he was killed. He was killed. They, every day, practically every day, they took a man for ransom, that we should give them money. And if he will not get money, he will be killed. So,
Gene, I know that there was an
so
action.
we managed to give them money.
I know that there was an action in Torchin that you survived in August 1942. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, so, well, we were just 1 minute. Please forgive me. I have to. Please forgive me.
No problem. Take the time to collect your thoughts.
It hurts. It hurts. It hurts so much. Okay. Saturday, you want to know how I survived the
Yeah.
massacre,
Yeah, what happened and
right?
who survived?
Not hearing you.
What?
Not hearing you.
Yes, Gene, how you survived the massacre.
Okay. March, not March, Tisha B'Av, not Tisha B'Av. 9 days in Elul, which was August 22nd, 1942. The ghetto was surrounded by the Ukraine and by the Ukraine police, and the Gestapo, the SS men, I don't know which one, they came to Torchin, and we women in the Ukraine prepared 3 mass graves, 3 mass graves on the cemetery, on the Jewish cemetery. And Saturday, early in the morning, the ghetto was surrounded, and we were staying near the Slambon to look what's going on, because the house where the German was right across from the ghetto. So we were looking, the women, what's going on there. And the Judenrat came and called. I was staying next to the Judenrat, to a secretary, to a assistant Judenrat next to him and his wife and his daughter. I was staying next to them, and the Judenrat came to call out Burger, the assistant, and his wife said to him, Ethel, Burger, remember me and your daughter, we also want to live. We told that he was called out to live. So I turned to her and I said, be happy that another Jew will survive and tell our horrors. I didn't have no idea that I'll be here 78 years later and tell you that story. And I was staying, as I say, I was staying near the ramp, and in front of the ramp, it was a tank. It was a tank from the Russian-German war. So a noise, a Jewish noise came in her white dress and had the white cap, and she came and she didn't want to go to the ghetto. She said, go to say to the Sonderführer that the noise is here and she has sick people in hospital and she has to go to take care of the sick people. So the Ukraine said, okay, but later another Ukraine came and say, go up over there and we will call you out. So she walked over to the ramp and I was staying there and she said, my name in Europe was Giza. She said, Giza, she would talk to me. So a Ukraine said to her, why you talk to her Polish? Why you talk to her Polish? You're going to death. Why don't you talk to her Jewish? So she said, she is not Jewish, she is Catholic. I would never think about it. I would never. So, and she said, go tell the Sonderführer that the noise is here and a Catholic girl. So I don't know if he went or not. Later he came. He said, you have to go over with the people. So later they took all of us to deeper to the ghetto. And we were sitting on they were sitting between the houses, and the Jews from the houses, everybody, and I, we went to a shack, and in the shack was a wooden box. It looks like in the synagogue where the speakers speak, a standard. And I went. I was skinny little. I was little and skinny. I went in that box and I covered myself with the box. And in Europe, they used to sell rice, salt, in the groceries. And I was in that box, and she was sitting on the bench. That she was sure that she saved my life, because I would never think to be a cat. I would never think to say that I am Catholic. I would never think about it. And later the Ukraine came and he said, the gendarmerie said that you have to go with the people. Come on, come on, come on, you Christian girl, come on. So I figure if you see me, he will take me. So I was in that box for the night, for the day. Next door, forgive me that I get a little bit sentiment. Next door, the people that we were in the house in the ghetto, we were so crowded that you cannot imagine. You cannot imagine how crowded we were. In one room, we were 5 people. In a room like was long like one bed, and the width from a crib in a crib, and this was the whole room, and then no more space. And in the second room, it was an older couple, and they had a son that couldn't sleep. He slept on the floor. The room was so small. It was in the room a stove and 2 doors, one to the bed, and then in the second room, it was the family from the house with 4 kids, and a family with 2 kids, and a rabbi. I don't know how they were sleeping all together. And
And how were you there until liberation?
what?
Were you there until the Germans left in 1945?
Well, they took the 3,000 Jews to the three prepared graves, and they killed them 3 at a time in the back of the head with a gun. My journey started, I made it very, very short. My journey started right away. So I was many times accused of a Jew. This is a long story. In 1944, it was a Passover time. I don't know the date. I know it was Passover. The Russian liberated. You see, in 1939, we were saying Russian occupied us. In 1944, we were saying Russian liberated us. You see the play of the words.
Yeah.
So the Russian came in, and I was afraid to say that I'm Jewish, because I was afraid that the front of the war, it's finished.
No, I can hear you, Gene.
What?
I'm still listening.
In the front of the army will go forward and back, that the Germans will come back. So I was afraid to say that I am Jewish. So So I was there, and a woman, a girl with a boy, with a child came in, and they were Jewish, not from my town, from a different town. They were Jewish. So when they came in, it was a Jehovah Witness house. So when they came in, they gave them food. I don't know if I don't remember if the girl with the boy ate food, but the little boy, he couldn't walk because he was in a bunker someplace hidden. He didn't want to eat. So the farmer asked why he doesn't want to eat. He's so skinny. So the sister said, because it's Passover, he doesn't want to eat because it's not for, kosher for Passover. So they asked him what he wants. So he said, a baked potato. So the farmer gave him a baked potato. Later, when I was sure that the Germans were not coming back, I went to Lutsk. We were afraid to go to the little towns because the Ukraine met a Jew, and he said, Hitler didn't give you the bullets. Here you have the bullets, and he killed the Jew. So we knew that in these little towns, they're still killing Jews. You understand? So I came to the Lutsk, and where I found that boy and that girl and another sister and another boy with the mother. They survived, and the father and the son was killed just before the, the Russian came in because they went for water from the hiding place. And when I came to, I had malaria. So I was together with that family. So I was in bed shaking from malaria. All of a sudden, a boy comes in and say, "Gisa, you're alive." And I say, "Aaron, you're alive." Later, another boy came in another day. "Itzig, you're alive. Gizu, you're alive." And we find out that we, from the 3,000 Jews in the ghetto, we 14 survived. But each of us has a big story to tell, a lot of story, a lot of hurt, how we survived. We survived by a miracle, but they're all dead. And now I am here. God give me health and strength to tell you the horrors of our Jews.
And how did you get from Lutsk
Are
to?
you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
How did you get from Lutsk ultimately to New York?
Okay. How? Very easy. We knew, not we knew, from Lutsk, as I say, the Russian were. So we smuggled from Russia to Poland. Poland was also occupied by the Russian, but it was Pole. You understand? They
Yes.
said that it's Poland, but the Russian were. So I came to Poland. When came to Poland, I registered that I'm in Krakow. I give you an example. When I left Krakow, I put in that I am in that that I'm in Kshanev. When I left Kshanev, I gave where I was later that in case somebody survived from my family or what, they will know that I'm alive and where I am. You understand? So later we heard that if you and the American occupied German, you can go to United States. So we smuggled the Czech
To Czechoslovakia?
yeah, we smuggled to Czechoslovakia and from Czechoslovakia to Germany. And we wind up in Kaserne, Hindenburger Kaserne in Germany. And in Hindenburg Kaserne, we moved to a place to Ulm on the Donau. And in 1946, we were in Germany, and just a day before Thanksgiving, we were in the American Council, and we were accepted to come to United States. In March 1939,
Would have been March 1946, right?
1947,
47.
1947, and the beginning of March the 2nd of, we took a boat, Pearl something, and we sailed to the United States. And the boat lost the motors, and another boat came to take us, Marlene something. I really am not too good to name. And the, the, it broke the, how you call it, they attached the boat to pull us. So the string broke, and we almost drowned. But we were lucky that the water was going. So by the fires, we end up in the English water. We were waiting for another boat. So Marlene came, and after the war, it was 1947. So they sold everything in France. The boat came from France, and we arrived. The, the, they took they took us to they took us to United States. And as I said, when we came to United States, we all saw the Statue of Liberty. Oh boy, we were crying from happiness, and we never. And April's voice, we came off from the boat. Oh God, what kind feeling of free, being free, being free. I was so naive that I thought that the whole world is different, just the European, the Antisemites and the murders. And what kind of change I have in life. But life in the United States, and this is the best country in the whole world.
Gene, you've been through so much. What do you feel is the lesson of your experience for future generations?
I feel
Oh, what happened?
that they should.
Wait.
What?
There's
No,
a picture. It's okay? No picture?
No picture.
Oh.
I feel very strongly that they should remember who they are. They should know. They should remember who they are. They should feel. They should feel that God is with us. They should feel. They should know the history of Jews. They should know the Holocaust, but they shouldn't live with it. I lived two horrible lives, but I don't live with it. Every day I remember it, but I don't live with it. I laugh, I smile, I say jokes, I have friends, I raise a wonderful family. The same thing, you should remember it, but you shouldn't live with it. You should live a normal life. And when somebody tells you that it's not true, you should say it's true, the Holocaust is true, that the old woman was talking to you, was talking to you when you were young children in the school. And excuse me, and that an old woman was talking the history of the horrors of the Ghetto, of the German. They should remember, but as I repeat, not to dwell on it, not to live it, just to remember it. And remember who you are. And remember that people are people, that everybody has a right to live. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about the horrors of the war.
Thank you, Gene. I know it's painful to remember these things, but we can all learn a lot by knowing what you experienced Oh, I really appreciate you
But-
answering these questions.
All right.
Excuse me. I want to tell you something.
Mhm.
If you want to know more about it, I just really scraped the top of it. It's a lot of pain. I always thought that it's years. I am in United States 75 years. I am in United States 75 years. And it seems like one day, and the years with the Germans seems like eternity. I just realized recently that it wasn't so many years, but it seems that it's forever.